You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. I saw this tweet earlier. It said black people in Minneapolis are killed at a rate 13 times higher than white people, a larger racial disparity than in almost anywhere else in the country. Samuel Sinyangwe, co-founder of Campaign Zero, joins us right now. Samuel, I'm glad to have you on the show. You track this data all across the country so people understand the impact of these policies. That tweet jumped out at me. How many people are dying at the hands of Minneapolis police?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've been tracking this over the past 6 years. Every single year, we see about 1,200 people are killed by the police. Nationwide, black people are killed by the police at about 3 times the rate of white people. Now, when you look at Minneapolis, those rates are dramatically higher. As you said, the rate is about 13 times higher for black people in Minneapolis than it is for white people to be killed by the police. Now, this is something that this is not the first case we have seen in Minneapolis. And what we are seeing now is a call for justice, a call for accountability. Firing these 4 officers is a start. But as you mentioned earlier in your show, these officers have yet to be charged with a crime. There remain provisions in their police union contract that may give them their jobs back on appeal. So there's a lot here that still needs to happen with regard to accountability.
In fact, you actually tweeted this out here. According to this report, 46% of cases appeal through a process called arbitration, which allows a lawyer selected in part by police unions to fully reinstate fired officers and back pay. Minneapolis is one of the cities that lets police discipline be appealed via arbitration.
Yep. And so this is so important to understand the system and the structure at work, because even when officers do get fired, as that data and that report from local media there in Minnesota has shown, in almost half of all cases, they get their jobs back through a process. Most people aren't thinking about arbitration, aren't thinking about arbitrators. But nevertheless, these are people who are lawyers, who are appointed in part by the police union, who have full authority to review these cases and reinstate officers plus back pay well after the fact. So we have to keep the pressure on to make sure that the system doesn't let them off the hook.
One of the things that jumps out here, again, we might remember the Philando Castile case. We also remember the white woman who was killed by a cop. It was real quick justice in his case, and the police union did not support him when he went to trial.
Exactly. And so you see the difference when it is a black officer compared to a white officer, and when the person who is killed is a white woman compared to, in this case, a black man. And so, the racism is operating on multiple different levels here. You're seeing the racism in who is being impacted by this violence. You're also seeing a racism in how the system responds to these incidents, both the system of accountability internally for the administrative discipline, but then also the system, the criminal justice system, and decisions about whether or not these officers should be charged. I mean, it's quite clear that this was murder. It's quite clear, not only that, but the officers broke multiple department policies, banning chokeholds, policies requiring officers to intervene if they see another officer using excessive force. There were so many different rules and laws broken. We need to see justice. We need to see accountability. And we need to see these officers charged immediately.
Samuel Sinyangwe, we really appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot for Campaign Zero.
Thank you.
All right, folks, I want to bring in my panel here. Melik Abdul, Republican strategist. Kelly Bethea, communications strategist. Mustafa Santiago Ali, former senior advisor, environmental justice, EPA. I'll start with you, Mustafa, obviously that is disturbing video there. The fact that this police department realized how bad this was, for them to fire these officers, not even 24 hours after this video was shot, shows that they are trying to quell what they saw building a raging storm.
Yeah, there's no way to stop what's coming. When you continue to kill men of color, especially black men, at the rates that are currently going on by the police, then you reap what you sow. There's a study that came out from the National Academy of Sciences that says that police are the 6th leading cause of death for young men of color. So when we know this, then there has to be changes made. It's okay for us to talk about, the criminal charges and the civil charges that will come as a result of the murder of this man. But we also need to be holding people accountable who continue to refuse to put in place the policies and the legislation that can also help us to alleviate this problem. This man, the police officer, there were 4 involved, but the police officer who had his knee on the back of this man's neck took away that man's humanity, took away that man's life, and it is reminiscent of Eric Garner, when Eric Garner said, "I can't breathe," and those police officers still refused to do anything to allow that man to have that critical breath for life. This is the exact same thing. And yes, they should throw the book at these individuals. And if the police union wants to get involved, then there should be a suit against them as well.
We're joined right now by Nakima Levy-Armstrong, former head of the NAACP there in Minneapolis. Okay, folks, she's supposed to be there, so we'll bring her up in a second. She's now a civil rights attorney. Kelly, I want to go to you. First of all, you watched that video. Very callous, knees on his neck. What I'm trying to understand is, how hard is it to have put your knee in somebody's back? How hard is it to sit here and seduce someone? You hear the one officer say, well, we tried for 10 minutes. Now, he was allegedly, here's the other thing. He was stopped and detained, eventually killed over a so-called forged check at a store.
Yeah. The initial question was, how hard is it to put your knee in somebody's neck? Thankfully, I wouldn't know, because that's not what I do. I've never had to do that. But what's more disturbing to me is, even in the swift action of Minneapolis police in terms of responding, in their statement, they said that no weapons were used at any time by the man or the officers during the encounter. So that tells me one or two things. One, this man was unarmed, which meant that that level of force was not necessary. But also, they do not understand how your body is a weapon. That man's knee was the weapon. Those 4 cops, their negligence was a weapon. Their willful ignorance was a weapon. Them turning their back on that man was a weapon. Them all of a sudden being deaf to a man's cry, that was a weapon. These officers are trained. They might as well be martial artists, literally, because martial law, and they know how to fight. Their bodies should be registered as weapons if they aren't already. So there was a weapon used. It was themselves. It was their ignorance. It was their negligence. It was their stupidity overall, and their racism and their bigotry and their xenophobia. For what? 4 officers are responsible for one man's death over something that should have never been brought up in the first place.
All right, folks, back to that Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment. Also, right now, folks, I want to talk about a Black-owned company. Remember, we had Mary Spio on the show with Ceek.com, CEEK.com. Folks, is a sister. She's from Ghana. She created her own technology company. She actually is created her own headphones. These are 360-degree 4D headphones. Go ahead, y'all. You can show the slideshow right now of these various headphones. Again, she's African. She's from African woman. Folks, these are amazing, amazing headphones. They sound great. And here's the piece. You can actually get these with a discount. Our members, the people who watch this show, you get to actually get these. Black-owned company. Go ahead and show the code, please. Use this code, RMVIP2020. If you want to buy these headphones, also their VR, a virtual reality headset. So the company is Ceek.com. And again, we support Black businesses. There are African Americans who are doing amazing things in technology. And that's why we support the folks at Ceek.com. Ceek.com, Ceek.com, where you can actually get these headphones. And so y'all have it. And so please use the code RMVIP2020, RMVIP2020, and proceeds of when you purchase these headphones comes back to the show. And so that's how we do it. We support a Black business. That Black business is reinvesting in Roland Martin Unfiltered so we can do what we do.